Dustin Burrell for CIS Networking 102 class. We're doing a skills integration packet tracer today. As you can see, we have a router, a switch, 3 PCs, and basically we're going to be focusing on the configurations we have to do with the router and the switch today, starting with the interfaces at G00 all the way to G0 1.99, which we want to realize right here, this is our interface, but these are our sub interfaces. When we do our interfaces, we will just be assigning IP addresses for the router, but when we get to the sub interface, we'll be assigning the IP addresses with one step in between, which is encapsulation .1q command. So let's get started. Let's fast forward some time. See where we're at totally. So yeah, everything's connected, but we're having one problem here. And eventually we're going to be able to fix that with some trunking. But let's get to the first step. Go into the command line interface. Did not mean to do that. I have a very touchy optical mouse. Okay. If you guys didn't know what that was, you have to enable your router, get into executive mode, conf-ft. So we're going to start with G0/0, and I almost messed up right off the bat. Interface G0/0. And this one you don't have to do any encapsulation, you just have to assign it an IP address due to the fact that this is the main interface. And the IP address is right up above, 17.25.2 space 255.255.255.252. And if you guys not finding where that is, our IP address and subnet mask will be right here. Enter that. We got that going. Now we got G0/1.10, right? Here's the mode that I was talking about. It already picked it up that it's a sub interface. So we need to encapsulate it. Encapsulation .1q, and make sure your Q is capitalized for 10. There we go. The next one we want to do is get the IP address for it for 10. 172.17.10.1. It's a class C. And now we can move on to the next one. And it's just going to be this way for the next interfaces that we're doing. Just the same steps over and over again. A little repetitive, but pretty simple after a while. And do take your time while you do this. Don't try to go too fast, because that's when you'll make mistakes. Then you'll have to backtrack. And as you can see, we're at interface 30 now. And we just need the IP address after the encapsulation. 172.17.30.1 space. Always double check though. I always look up interface G0/1.88 encapsulation .1q for 88. Get that in there too. IP address will be 172.17.88.1 5.255.255.0. And our last one for the router will be the 99 VLAN. Well, 91. Yeah, there we go. And it's very important not to get ahead of yourself, because that's when you just start getting everything messy in the command line. And we all know how picky it can be. So make sure you're all doing the correct configuration commands inside your command line interface box. 172.17.99.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, so that is the last configuration we need to do for the router. As I was whizzing through that, you'll notice that we're already up to 61% of this project. Let's actually go check out and see how everything's going now. Actually, it still looks like we're just still having this part right here that's red, and we're gonna fix that here in just a second. But now we need to also configure our switch. Basically what we need to do to configure the switch is go inside the switch, and we need to name all of these VLANs, but we also need to assign the IP address and subnet mask at the same time. So I'm gonna go into my switch right now, command line interface of the switch, and we're gonna name all the VLANs. Get into your exec mode inside of your switch, and pretty much, let me see here. I'm just going to make sure I got the right command for the very first step. As soon as I get that, I'll be able to get rolling on this, no problem. Let's look at that real quick. Alright, yeah, it was a simpler command than I was making it to be, but better to double check than to be sorry. So yes, we're doing VLANs, just VLAN 10, and basically we're naming, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing right here, VLAN 10, name, we're going to name these before we do the interfaces, and it's faculty, staff, and then VLAN 20. Another repetitive configuration, but it has to be done if you want your network to get up and running in this kind of situation. VLAN 30, name, guest, type it letter for letter how it looks in this box over here too. Name, oh, hold on, see, don't get ahead of yourself. 88. Name for VLAN 88 is going to be the native, and I'll show you how to do the native VLAN here. And VLAN 99 will be known as management. Oh yeah, and another important thing to remember, it doesn't say it over here. In order to be able to name stuff, put your name command in front of what you're naming. Management. Okay. So after we get them all named, all the VLANs named, you're going to notice your completion rate's already up to 76% now. And the next thing we want to do is get our interfaces on here too, and you see the range is right there. So we're going to just go from top to bottom. We'll start with interface range FA11 to 17. So interface range F0. It's not that important to do the it's really not that important to do the. So continuing on with the interfaces, you guys start from top to bottom on this. We're just going to do the interface ranges really quick. Interface range F0 1117, and this is the very important part of doing ranges is making sure you have access. So do